fundamentally the mechanics were the same. If you think about what happened, once this foot was placed and I loaded into here, I was essentially in the single leg squat position, which means the mechanics doesn't change. This hip is an anterior tilt. Can't hinge. First part of our bend and lift pattern is the hip hinge. You cannot hip hinge if you take a big step. Secondly, we go down. If you look at what's happening at this knee, just follow the knee, it's translating forward immediately. That would be the same as you squatting like that, which you would never teach me to do. Then why are you allowing me to lunge like that? And the third thing that would happen is if you are following the alignment of the hips are tilted forward, you're going to go to this position. But if I was holding weight, I would come here, and that's putting a big arch in my back. So those are the mechanics you need to avoid, because you would never have me squatting like that. But why am I lunging like that? Just because it's a different exercise doesn't mean the mechanics change. We are teaching movement patterns, not exercises. Learn how to move, then you can do any exercise. A lot of people will start here and say, I'm just going to drop straight down. And they can. But there's no hip hinge, which means there's very little loading in the posterior chain. Remember, the whole point of the hip hinge was to load the posterior chain. So if you're here, you're just dropping straight down. There may not be much shearing there, but this is still a very quad dominant exercise. So we can do variations on the lunge. First thing we want to do, shorten your step. If I take a smaller step right here, then my hips have the chance of staying neutral, which means I can hinge and drop down. Now, if I'm in this position, I've got three options. I'm just putting my knee to the ground so I can explain them. One, you can go forward. If I propel forward, it's going to be a lot of the posterior muscles. So my glutes predominantly, a little bit of my hamstrings, pulling my knee back to help extend the knee and drive me forward. If I come straight up, it's going to be a lot more of glutes and quads. However, the important role is the hamstring. Hamstring is a knee stabilizer. The hamstring is going to actually help pull the tib back. That essentially is knee extension. So think about this. You're in this position. Instead of going straight up and going forward, come back. Feel your hamstring as you do that. So you load, back leg, front leg, hinge, correct, drop down to your figure 4, use the hamstring, pull you out, right? So bring the hamstring into your lunge pattern, so vary it up. Romanian deadlifts, step-ups, backwards lunges like that, all great exercise for the hamstrings. To close off, let's look at the pattern when we do a side lunge. So again, we have a side squat. We have the same problem with the side lunge. If I lunge out here, first of all, that muscle is going to be in a concentric position. Secondly, my knee may be aligned inside my foot. You would never have me squatting like this, so why would I lunge like that? And I ask people, what is the role of the side lunge? They say, oh, it's for your glutes and your adductors and everything. I'm like, well, if you want to do glute exercise, work a different plane. These muscles are not working, they're just being stretched. So it's not an exercise for these muscles, it's just a stretch for those muscles. The whole idea of the side lunge is to load the lateral compartment, which means train this muscle as a eccentric decelerator. So don't overstep. Take a controlled step, toe, heel, hinge and shift until you get that alignment. Imagine that straight line. Now push off of that, go the other way. Boom, push off. Toe, heel, hinge, shift. Push off. Now if you want, you can add some fun. You've got your drivers. We can do what? Drive down. We can shift. We can rotate. You can do all sorts of things. You can have fun, just like you do with a squat, in doing these lunge patterns.